Hello world, it's Ansh and our task today is going to predict if a team is gonna win a game or not. Now this is for football, or as Americans call it, soccer, which is the most popular game globally when it comes to sports. And of all the domestic teams out there, the English Premier League is the most popular of all of them. So we are gonna predict the outcome for an English Premier League team using a dataset of past games, and this dataset has a bunch of different characteristics. Let me open this for you.
So this is what the dataset looks like. Right here you've got a home team, you've got an away team right here. So it could be Arsenal, it could be Chelsea, Brighton, Manchester City. So you've got a home team, an away team, and a whole lot of statistics. So these are all acronyms, but I have those acronyms that we can look at right over here. So we have acronyms for the full-time home team goals, the home team, the away team, the shots, the target, the corners, and the amount of yellow cards, the amount of red cards. So there's a lot of different statistics here. There's so many things that go into what makes a team win or lose, right? And so we are going to take all of these features and then we are going to use them to try to predict the target or the label. And the label in our case is going to be the FTR, which is the full-time result. So the FTR is right here. So it could be either the home team H or the away team. So that's what we are going to try to predict given all of these features in the dataset. We are going to try to predict the winning football team, and our steps are going to be, it's a 4-step process. So our steps are going to be to first clean our dataset. Make sure that we only use features that we need. What do I mean by that is when it comes to predicting who's gonna win a match, there's an entire industry around this. Right? There are pre-game analysis by commentators or post-game analysis by commentators. Entire channels like ESPN are dedicated to trying to predict who's gonna win a match. And in fact, even during the game, there are commentators trying to predict who's gonna win, like during halftime, who's gonna win the full game. So this is something that's been going on for forever, trying to predict who's gonna win a match. But we are gonna do something that people don't do often, and that is using statistical analysis, or otherwise known as machine learning or mathematical optimization, to try to predict who's going to win. If you think about it, this is like one of the most perfect machine learning algorithms out there trying to predict who's gonna win. Think of all the features out there, and those features don't necessarily have to do with the game. They could be the sentiment of the audience, the sentiment of the crowd, of news articles, how are the people talking about a team, what hashtags related to the team are trending on Twitter, are they home, are they away, what's the weather like that day, what are the forecast predictions. So there's so many different data points that could go into from across the world telling us whether or not a team is gonna win or lose. So we are gonna clean our data set, then we are gonna split it into a training and a testing set. And what I mean by that is we are gonna use scikit-learn to do that. I have yet to find a better library for splitting training and testing data than scikit-learn. It is still like the best out there. Even if I'm using TensorFlow or PyTorch to build my model, I'll use scikit-learn to split my training and testing dataset. It's just a one-liner, super simple. And once we split it, we are gonna train it on 3 different classifiers. We're gonna use either logistic regression, support vector machine, and the third one is a model called XGBoost. Well, you can think of it as a technique, model, or the same thing. So we are gonna use those 3 as our classifiers. We are gonna train all 3 of them on the dataset, and then we are going to pick the classifier that has the best result, and that is gonna be the classifier that we are going to use to predict the winning team. And we're also going to optimize its parameters to further increase the accuracy. So this is the model.py file, and this is the basic ML engine behind our website, and I'm going to explain all this code to you. Heading on to the main function, first we include the CSV file into a data frame called data. Then we call this function train test and pass this data. Heading on to train test, we divide the dataset into 2 parts, xall and yall, where xall contains all the features, all the independent variables on which this target variable yall depends. We then pre-process all this xall, in which we basically scale all those features so that all the features lie in a specific range and heading on to the pre-processing features function. This is the pre-processing features function, and here we have applied a for loop to access all columns one by one, so that all those columns, all those values in those columns lie in the same, almost same range. Then we convert all those values in strings so that we can compute on them, and finally we return the output. We receive the output in xsol. So xsol is now our pre-processed dataset. Now we include the train test split library from the sklearn.model selection for splitting a dataset into training and testing dataset. So here we receive the classifier by calling the xgb classifier with seed value equal to 82. We fit this classifier on a training dataset, and then we use it to predict the y value of our testing dataset. We then plot a confusion matrix between the testing value of y and the actual value of y, and then we print the confusion matrix and return the classifier. Here we got the classifier. Now after having the classifier, we can now use it to predict the values of our of anything that we want to predict. First we pass the values as arguments in the program. We then make a data frame out of it. Now heading out of the make data frame function. This is a make data frame function. Here we define all the column names of the values that were provided as input. We now convert each of the values into a data frame. You can see here xsol is a data frame, and then we do the same thing, like we convert all of them into string values so that it can be computed on easily, and then we return this data frame. Finally we receive the data frame from df. We now call the predict function, and we pass the model and the data frame in it so that we get the predicted value of y, which we actually needed, and then we print the predicted value of y. Else, if the length of the parameters were less, that is, we received less data and we could not predict the values, we print invalid parameters.
So here is a small demonstration of the working website. Here you can see various options, and the very first option you can see is here login sign up. If you click on this link, we are presented with a login form. If you are new to this website, then you can click here where a registration form appears, and you can enter your details. For example, if I'll enter mine, it's Ansh Arora. The email is ansh.arora1810@gmail.com. I'll set the password for now is 123456, although it's not visible. And I'll repeat this password. See, now I've entered a 6-digit password, and it is asking me to update the password to at least include 8 characters. So I add 2 more, 7 and 8, and in this 2 I'll proceed to next. And because the sign up was successful, I am directly now at the main page on which we are shown various records, and now we can click any record to find the result of this entry. For example, if I click on this record of ID number 8, and it is showing me predicted, so I'll head over to a random number now. Let's suppose we click on 42, and now let's see who wins. See, the home team wins, and here the non-home team wins. So this is a basic demonstration of how the ML engine works. This is the login sign up, and again we can go to the login sign up screen. So here we are logged out, and now we'll try to log in with our existing email ID. So I'm entering the email ID, the password. So you can see the login was successful. Thank you.